So for learning activity number 4, we're going to go into the semester project. You've already had a chance to review it a little bit back in getting to know the course. But the goal for this is, depending upon which project you selected, you're going to develop a lesson plan and actually teach that. Obviously, you're in this, and it's summertime, so you can't teach it, but you do have to teach one lesson this semester, and that's going to be done in your e-learning module, which you'll see in just a second. So obviously checklist, the same thing. There's YouTube video that goes over the expectations for the semester project. I want to look at this real quick with you first, just because it's a nice refresher. You've already seen it. Just kind of what I'm thinking for this. You've got some good examples of what these projects are and what they look like. I don't want you to copy what they did. I want you to find something that works for you if you're doing a self-study. A lot of these students were super excited about the Moon Journal, and I understand that. That's a fabulous thing to use in certain grade levels, but it may not be appropriate for every grade level. So we can talk about ideas that work for what you want to do. Either way, you need to be able to work through some of this. As you're thinking through what you want to do, make sure you can answer all these questions. And second, if you chose option 2, you've already ordered your book. Hopefully you've started reading your book. It was one of these 3 to choose from. What I'm expecting from this, you're not getting less work by doing this one. What you have to do is do a critical analysis of the book and then talk with your peers about what you're seeing and what's there and how it works for your teaching. Now, this is the part that I really wanted you to see, and I think you've seen some of it already. But in LA1, you were introduced to the concept. For research and reading, you're going to have a small group discussion in LA4. Your NSTA module, the first thing you're going to do is going to be in LA4. LA5, your second module can relate to your project. And then NSTA module 3, which is going to happen in LA7, also can relate to your project. So you have 2 small group discussions and 3 NSTA modules as references. Finally, when you get down to LA8, you're going to write basically a narrative of all the theories that we've looked at in class. Which one is most closely aligned to the project that you selected? I think you might get a couple of points for putting this in Courseden, but when I grade your webpage, I will be looking for this, and there are points applicable there. Then back down into LA9, review a piece of children's literature that can be used connected to your project. And then LA10 is kind of a cool one. It is looking at STEM careers. So you're going to see these later on. And then this is, as you're looking at small group discussion, this is what you're going to look at for option 1, whatever your group, whatever you chose, you've done the sign-in sheet, reach out to your group members, and these are the kind of questions that you're going to talk about. Same thing for option 2. These are just some suggested things to think about, kind of how I anticipate seeing things in the project, but that's, you've seen this a couple of times already. I wanted to make sure you were comfortable with what was happening there. So after the overview of the semester project, there's a video. I'll walk you through the whole thing again. But you've got an e-learning module. This is taking us to the spring semester with COVID and where we're at right now. Instead of you being able to actually teach in your classroom, you can teach an online module. And I want to give you an example of kind of what this is going to look like, how you're going to have yours set up. So it says e-learning modules, and then it has the student's name and the name of their project. You have these exact same things in your file. I just haven't shared it with you yet, but you'll have access to all of these things and a sign-up sheet. So let's go back to this. And the rubric for the module is right here. So instructional information, an instructional video, discussion piece. So what would you want your students to be doing? how would you use this to teach in your classroom? You can choose to do the learning module over LA4 or later on in LA8. The good news is if you wait until later, you have a little longer to finish it. But I don't think I would wait that long. And then I go through instructions on how to set up the module that you're creating, what files how to name your files, and so forth. So let's go back again. Like I said, there are examples. These are from former students. They've done a really good job of walking you through the whole thing. So if I click on this, you see each of their pieces. And that's one of the requirements, to have a certain number of pieces in there. All right. So learning module, NSTA module, things to turn in. You have to turn in, regardless of whether you choose to teach it or not, you need to turn in a semester project lesson plan. So if you've chosen a book, you're going to use one of those activity ideas and expand upon it. Make sure you're doing it through 5E, the learning cycle format. If you are doing option 1, which is your self-study, develop a lesson plan that is as original as possible. If you use pieces from elsewhere, make sure you give them credit, because I don't want to have to give anybody zeros, but I think it's crazy to reinvent the wheel, but I do want you to think through how it's going to work for you and create something beneficial that way. Then you have NSTA Module 1 is due during this learning or activity, and then if you choose to do the e-learning module, you can turn it in here or you can turn it in LA8. I don't care. I'm not grading it until the end of 8. And then your small group discussion over your semester project. One thing that I forgot to add here, and I'll do that right now. You just make sure your group, if you do a hangout discussion, which I think that might be best for this, everyone has to turn in an individual set of notes. So while this says discussion topic, everyone turns in notes, and this is hopefully a way to help you get more motivated in what you're doing for that project. As always, let me know if you have questions. You can post them in the students' comment questions and concerns, and I'll do my best to get back to them there, or you can ask it in Hangouts. So good luck.